So yeah, when we load this, guys, we're going to want to have the notching faced up so we can go over with the metal detector and make sure there's no metal in it. Okay, roger that. Let's go. I'm Warren Arcano. I was born and raised down in California. My dad was in the oil business, and we grew up out in the country. We had a small farm, had cattle and horses, and that was where I learned my first taste of discipline and doing chores. We had to go out and feed calves in the morning before the bus stop at 6 o'clock in the morning, and mend fences when we got home after school. Mom was crazy supportive, and any idea, any dream I had, Mom was the typical, you could be anything you want as long as you work for it.
Warren's always been, thanks to his father, Warren's always been a hard worker. He learned good work ethics, and that's what he's teaching grandson, and it's awesome the way that he handles everything that he handles.
I moved up here to Washington State in '96. Went through the natural resource program and just fell in love with outdoors. But while I was going to college, I got into construction and just really fell in love with working with my hands. So I worked for a general contractor. We did all aspects of construction, from concrete to sheetrock to the framing to roofing, siding, and then I actually got to work in a cabinet shop for 2 years, and that's where I really fell in love with woodworking and the appreciation of wood and its beauty. There, I put my name in the hat for some openings for Washington State Park. Out of 350 people, they picked me. I've been with Washington State Parks it'll be 20 years this January. I started out as a general maintenance and repair, and then I worked my way up into a supervisory role where I've been for the last 8 years. Kind of the best of both worlds. I'm out in nature in a beautiful setting, but yet I'm still working with my hands, building stuff. And working for state parks was a great family work balance. It gave me a lot of freedom, being able to raise a family, provide for the family. But now that all the kids are grown, I have a ton of time on my hands. The core group is Corey, Trace, and Coulter. So Corey, he's the oldest boy that's part of the family business. And so Corey, very methodical, very matter of fact, very detail orientated, and very mechanical too. He loves doing all the servicing and all the equipment. He keeps everything greased, oiled, and lubed. Corey's a powerhouse. So he's always, if he's not out here helping us flip logs, he's in the gym working out, which shows really great discipline that hopefully that I instilled in him. Trace is great. Not my direct son, but Corey's brother from a first marriage of mine. But he's been a part of our family for forever. Think of him as a son. He's got great heart, great care, and kind of the jokester a little bit. Me and Coulter's dad were good friends in college. Corey and him played baseball together growing up, and we used to go camping together when the boys were young. So Coulter's been a part of our life too, and so to watch him grow up and actually be an arborist by trade has been great. He was like, hey, I want to help. I want to be a part of this team too, and so we're like, come on aboard. So that's the core group. Outside in the wood mill, Charlene she's the big boss. She's behind the scenes big boss. Huge support, mental support, and food support, because us boys can eat. So when we're out at the mill on a cold rainy day, everybody's cold, they all want a hot meal, and Charlene usually over exceeds and has some awesome tasting meal ready for us to scarf down. My first exposure to a portable sawmill was we had a really bad windstorm come in and blew over a bunch of silver maple trees, and the Department of Natural Resources brought in a portable log mill. Blew my mind, didn't know they even made those. And so for me to be able to see that, them taking the logs that we thought were all going to go to the chipper or landfill at the time, that they brought the logs and they were able to put it on this portable sawmill and mill it up into usable lumber and boards, was just like, wow. I was so intrigued. I thought that was the neatest thing ever, and it just got my mind thinking about the possibilities and something that maybe I'd be interested in doing. One day I looked at my wife and I said, I want to buy a sawmill.
I have a little kitchen, and we have a big family, and it's a tight squeeze in there. So we were going to remodel our house, have a bigger kitchen. I was out picking appliances, all the finishes, and then when I was out picking the tile of all times, my husband had this epiphany. Said, hey, you know what? I think we should start a business. And I'm like, okay. So, and that's where it started. So yeah, I believed in him because I know him. And when he wants to spend money on something, he researches it like crazy. Like he really, I mean, even when he would buy a TV, he would research it like crazy. So I knew he did his homework. We talked it over a lot, and I believed in him. Yeah, there was a lot of talking, but I believed in him, and I was actually excited. It all started with a dream and a Norwood mill.
A lot of tradespeople my age and older are looking down the ladder and not seeing a lot of young folks being interested in coming into the trades. And and this is what our country was founded on. This is how our country was built, from the blue collar workers out there, men and women that showed up and did their trade to the best of their ability to build this country. And so I'm a huge believer in trades work, tradesmen and women on learning a trade. And this just so happens to be the sawmill industry that we're into. This is what I fell into. This is what I found my niche. I found my love, my passion for, and doing it with my boys.
At first, I was a little bit on edge. I didn't know what to think. But as time has gone by, I've become a lot more interested in the work. Working with my hands and working for this business has brought a lot of joy to me. It's been probably about 4 years that we've been doing this, and I've been a part of it every step of the way.
Well, originally me and Corey just wanted to get closer, and so I was coming out here every weekend, and then I realized he started wood milling and I got interested, and so I started working with him sophomore year, and then it just happened every weekend, and now I'm out here.
Yeah, my dad and Corey's dad, Warren, they've been friends forever. I don't know how long, but they ran around in the hills doing all the stuff that we enjoy doing now, hunting. We grew up camping together, and it was always just Corey and Warren. That's what we were doing. We'd come out and hang out here with them before this was even going on. So Warren talks all the time about how crazy it is that him and my dad used to hang out and do everything that me and Corey are doing now, and just kind of comes full circle. And I enjoy working with him. I enjoy working with Corey. It's a good time. And Trace, it's awesome. So yeah, the arborist thing was all new to me when I first started, and I decided I really liked that, and that kind of caught my interest with the whole milling thing. I didn't really know what was going on at first, and I started watching everything that Warren's doing and Corey's doing, and I wasn't out here from the start. So I just sort of jumped into it, and I love it. It's amazing. I like seeing a project develop, working with the customers. It's a great time.
So the sawmill is my main focal point and my main tool that I rely on the most. And that's getting it from a log to a beam to a mantle to a shelf to a slab. The sawmill that I chose was the HD 36. So the 36 stands for it'll take a 36-inch diameter log. And I have extensions on there right now that I can mill up to 20 feet. Once I have all my extensions on, I'll be able to mill up to 30 feet.
What I'm doing here is I'm actually switching out the blade. I've been using the saber-tooth Cut tip blades, which are by far my favorite, smoothest cut, and last a really long time. These are great. Every third tooth has a stellite tip. They're great blades. Highly recommend them. And we're gonna throw them on here. Just the way I like it.
Probably the hardest part about log milling, what I do is finding the right tree for the right customer. I actually look for imperfections. I look for curves. There's just so many things you can do with that. Everybody's house is different, their home decor is different, their layout of their fireplace is different. And so having all these different options helps me be successful in finding the right piece for the customer and then enhancing some of that defect that maybe others might not want. Today particularly, we're looking for something with some really pretty character. I love milling these old cedar dock poles. They look so rough on the outside, but so beautiful on the inside. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna pick out one that I think is gonna hopefully shine.
All right. When we load this, guys, we're gonna want to have the notching faced up so we can go over with the metal detector and make sure there's no metal in it. Okay. Roger that. Let's go.
When milling the logs, a quick reference for me, there's formulas, there's math, there's, the taper of the log. The small end of the log sets the size cant that you can get out of that log. Obviously the big end of the log is misleading because you think you have more wood there than you do, but depending on the taper, if one end is 20 inches and the small end is 10 inches, a 8x8 is probably all, square 8x8 is probably all you'll be able to get out of that. And so what I would do is I just made up these square pieces that were 8x8, 10x10 as quick references that I would quickly hold up to kind of see, I think I can get this out of that log with some wane, which is the curvature of the log, or without wane. I did a video with me slapping the end of the log with one of those made up pieces. Going for a 12x12.
That actually scared me.
People, I think when people are scrolling and all of a sudden this guy slaps the board on the end of the log, it was like, whoa, what's this? That had evolved, and the guy, the boys were like, hey, I want to try that. And I don't know if you've all ever hit a baseball bat hard against something. Well, there's a twinge that happens down that bat, and it actually kind of stings your hand. And so, the very first, it was like, it doesn't actually always feel great to slap, especially in cold weather. It doesn't always feel that great to slap the end of a log with a board. But it's just kind of turned into this fun thing of us interacting, picking up song choices due to the species of the log. Bearwood Boys Slap and Tap has turned into kind of this focal point of what we do and what we're all about and having fun doing it. It was a tool that now has turned into kind of a focal point of us doing on a routine basis with the logs and just kind of having fun doing it. Milling up this 8x8 cedar reclaimed dock pole into a 20-footer. Woo!
I feel like I'm 40. Yeah.
So the coloring in here, as you can see, here's some old holes. And this is where the hardware that used to hold these old dock poles together. So these holes are where the bolts used to set. And so as the metal sits in these in the water, that metal leaches out into the wood and gives it this really dark staining and this dark patina. It really just kind of helps tell the story of what this tree and log has done up until this point. And as you all saw in the beginning of the video, they're pretty rough looking coming out of the lake and when we first put them on the log deck. But as you can see, there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful cedar still left inside. And that's what I love about these old dock poles, is that you expose that and give it a whole new purpose, and what I like to call its final life as someone's custom mantle shelf or beam in their home. You keep us fed. And also hot coffee. Thank you. You burned it? Yep. Where? The whole thing. I built this shop to have some of our vehicles obviously under cover. We get heavy snow here, and so we wanted it out of cover and not wake up to our cars buried in snow. And so I built this for that, and then I also built it for a man cave, a gathering place. Our house is small, and so it didn't accommodate having big gatherings very often. And so I wanted to build a place out here that had the TV, have kind of a wet bar. I built that with that in mind, and we did that for many years. All great, great memories and fun times. But as much as I miss that, the excitement of where I'm going now with the wood business, just evolving into that. You know, it was kids growing up, you were busy, you came home, you went to sporting events, you went to practices, you traveled, you did all this kind of stuff. And Corey, being the youngest, when he was done, it was like me and Charlene looked at each other and were like, well, now what are we going to do? I mean, we have all this time on our hands. We're not running to practice. We're not running to a sport event. Good as it sounded for me just to get lost on a sporting event, drinking a beer every weekend, I was like, boy, I better do something a little bit more constructive. Now it's, the man cave is not so much an afterthought, but it's still, there's still remnants of it here, but this is pretty much a full-blown wood shop now that we're running our family business out of. Another outside influence that influenced me in doing that was Walter Payton, the Chicago Bears. He's always my idol growing up. His work ethic, him being a kind person, genuine person. And so that also is why we are Bearwoods Northwest, is because my love for the Chicago Bears and Walter Payton to come up with this title for this business. Let me show you around. Yeah, so over here we have our little welding station. We don't do a ton of welding, but we do welding when we do some of our custom brackets, whether it be for shelving or mantles. Over here we have our Cantech 12-inch joiner. This is our dust collection unit. This is our jet dust collection. We hook this up to the joiner, we hook it up to the planer. Dust is our enemy in the shop. So having a great dust collection. This has a 3-horse motor on it. Has a big container for collecting all the chips. So this is a huge thing for us to keep dust under control. Right next door is the gym. Come on in and check it out. Got to keep those boys strong for turning them logs. Check out, this is our little common area. Got all of our, when we have big gatherings, lunches, barbecues, hangouts. And over here, these are all the different mantle brackets that we use, different sizes, depending on the size, the species, the weight of the bracket. We size the mantle bracket up per piece. So this is where we store all those. Over here, we got a display of different cans that we mill up on display for folks to kind of get an idea of what they like and what they don't like. And so before I take them out back and look at some more options, this just kind of gives them a rough idea of what they might want to have in their house. Over here, these are the boys' lockers for changing in and out of work. And I'll be darned, look at the hat. Brand new pair of Norwood coveralls in there. This is where we have a lot of our different fasteners, different colors. Over here is a display of all the different colors of epoxy that we can do. and some of our other tool items and glues and fasteners and finishes and stains. So what's a cool shop without an elevator? You gotta have an elevator. So this is something that we fabbed up. We're always taking extra material, things up and down, and just to make it a little bit easier on getting stuff up and down in the loft. Gotta have a poop deck on board. So here's a full restroom, and when you got boys around, you gotta have a urinal, because we clean this bathroom and boys' aims are no good. Gotta have the urinal. This is where we keep all of our power tools, sockets, all of our cordless tools. And we got, this is our little supply buggy, the old Sportsman 450 Polaris. And then here's the old trusty Heister, 1972 with the flathead 6. Does really, really good. The seat might need a little help, but hey, we're not in it for looks, we're in it for production. You got Coulter here that takes care of all of our chainsaws and putting that nice, fine, sharp edge. So getting the moisture down when doing these final products is very, really important. And so what I rely on this Wagner moisture meter. And what this does is it actually reads the moisture down to 3/4 of an inch inside the wood. So on this Doug fir, for instance, you have to calibrate it to the wood, but then you hold that on there and then you run that across the grain, and it shows you the different moisture content that's inside. So this one right here is right around 10.4%. You come down here, it's like 9.6. And so you can go calibrate it to each species of wood, and then you can also then find out what the moisture is. So these are all really, really nice and dry and ready for process. But this Wagner moisture meter is a very, very key tool for us to be accurate on moisture. One thing I wanted to say is, like, so we get our brackets from Shepherd's Brackets. So they're a company that we've partnered up with. They make great products. And so this is just one of their smaller 1-inch brackets that we use for our custom shelving. So here's a piece of that cedar. Again, had a little bit of rot. We did an epoxy inlay on. And then we go ahead and route out the back, drill the holes for the bracket. This gets mounted to the wall. And then the bracket just pops in there. That's probably a great display, but anyway, you guys get the idea. Then it slides right in, sits up for a floating shelf. To date, by far, one of the jaw-dropping moments, we just got done shopping at Costco. And I was having a poor pity me moment, and I was really frustrated on how expensive everything was and how much groceries cost, and then I was getting a load of logs, and that price went up because the fuel went up, and I was just kind of having this all like moment of like frustration, and man, it seemed like business has slowed down, and we were having this whole conversation, and of course Charlene was like, hey, it's okay, it'll be fine, and I'm like, I know, and I was just kind of having like this woe of pity party for a second, and I flopped down on the couch, and my phone went off. And I got a message from Eric Stonestreet. And at first with social media, with all the different fake accounts and spam, and you just never know who's fake and who's real sometimes and everything. And I got a message from Eric Stonestreet, and he was like, "Hey man, big fan of your page. Watch what you do. Love watching you guys work. Do you by chance do you guys ship any of your stuff?" And I was like, "Wow, he wants a mantle. This is awesome. Okay." And I was like, hey, I'm kind of getting we're almost got our shipping stuff figured out, but And he's like, well, I'm actually not after a mantle. I'm actually after for some custom beams for the main foyer of our house. And I was like, okay, great, And so not knowing any of the size or how big his house was, I said, can you shoot me a cut list? And so he said, yeah. So he gave me a cut list of all the size beams. And I believe there was 28 beams. The biggest one was 14 by 18 by 32 feet long. And I'm like, wow. And it was a lot of really, really big beams, and he picked us to do it for him. And so grateful to have that opportunity to do that and working with him. He wanted everything to be distressed. He wanted to look like it was aged, like it had been out in weather for a really, really long time. And so we milled up all the beams, and we hand distressed each one of them by hand with different nylon brushes, wire brushes,
and hand scraping to give it that old look. I wasn't really worried about us not having our delivery figured out yet, because I was like, I'm going to hand deliver these ones myself.
If you asked me what my favorite project was, then I would say milling and distressing all of the beams for Eric Stone Street. That was one heck of a project. The whole trip down there was a great time.
You know, like I said, you know, as I've gotten older, I've realized that spending time with my dad and family in general, brothers, sisters, everything has become much more apparent to me that that's one of the most important things in my life. And so this business, again, has allowed me to do that, and just realizing that each and every day is a blessing to all of us. And so going through each day, being able to spend time with family, being able to spend time working together is something that I've become a lot more in tune with. And for us, it's much more than just a business. You know, it's something to bring all of us closer together. And again, business for us it's solving people's problems. I think one of the best things that I get out of this business is when somebody comes in with an issue or a problem and they need something from us, and they choose us to make it. They choose to spend their hard-earned money on a product that we are going to make. And so when we pick out their wood, we pick out their stain, we pick out how they want it milled, we pick out everything and each and everything about it. And when they come and they see it for the first time and they are so beyond happy with their product, to me it gives me such a warm feeling, because that to me is just something that you can't replicate. And so a lot of it just comes down to making sure that we give 110%.
I opened up Noir a year ago, and I just had a vision of what I wanted it to look like, and I wanted to have everything local here, everything from somebody's craft that they adore and they love. So Warren came in, saw the look, and then he went with it. Specifically, he was able to tie it in with the elegance of the space, but yet the functionality, which that was probably more important than I realized. But Warren, being the person he is and the perfectionist, he was able to bring function to it as well. He was able to mill my specific wood from Priest Lake docks, like old docks. So it brings in just this holistic feel that I think the building has itself. He came in, he measured, he took my shampoo bottles, measured my bottles for me, so that way specifically each one could fit on there. There's no surprises. He has a perfect weight load, so that was a huge deal for me. Not to mention, I wanted people come in and take their breath away, and I wanted to have a story behind it. And he hit those two right on the head. I really
have appreciated my dad's willingness to always be dedicated, and watching him stay up late at night, every single night, doing videos has really lit a fire underneath me and allowed me to become more in tune with the business and how everything's going.
What inspired me to first start doing some of my posts and shares on social media was just for my family and friends. You know, they're like, hey, I want to see. Not everybody lives locally. I was just posting some stuff on there so they could all see what I was doing and what I was working on, and kind of like my beginning part of my business journey. And for many years, it was just my family and friends just kind of giving me a good job, Warren, thumbs up, buddy, good job. And so then, it almost seemed like it was overnight, but all of a sudden there was all these people commenting and giving me high fives and thumbs up that I didn't know. Turned into a lot bigger following, and to be honest, responsibility to give people good, accurate information and then show them all the ins and outs of what we do. And I think a lot of people, I think probably my biggest following, follow us for the whole package. The whole package of us taking a tree to a finished product, a father working with boys, having that camaraderie, having that hard work ethic, having that same want, desire, and determination to do the best that we can, and show up every day, have fun doing it, but also turn out some very one-of-a-kind, beautiful pieces.
The way I am goes out to him, and I love that. I love that he is always in my corner, no matter if I'm maybe not the nicest person to him every day, or vice versa, and we always have each other's back, and I've always really appreciated that part of my dad. And to me, that's one reason that I know that the more you put in, the more you get out, and that's how I know we're gonna make it, and I'm always gonna be right there with him. So
the way I look at parenting, I'm a father first, I'm a friend second, and I hold them to the line, just like my dad did. If you fail, then that means you have practice to do until you get good, and I wouldn't have as successful, well-rounded kids today if I wasn't able to be present. And so I think it's both super important for both parents to be present. I'm super proud of all the kids and what they've accomplished. It's the best having a family business. And it's time that you can't get back. Having, my son that backs me, supports me, and works right next side of me, to me, as a father, there's just nothing better. Yeah, he's the best thing I made so far, for sure.
Woodworking has instilled in our children the perseverance to go after your dreams. They've learned that it takes hard work to get where you want to go in your career. They've learned that, and they've taken that and ran with it, and we're so fortunate.
I started with a dream, and it's turned into this, but without every single person that's here, we wouldn't be where we are today, and I'm very grateful for that, to be able to not only live and grow together, but also work together and still have that common care and respect and love for each other. I do a lot of self-reflecting on how I can be the best version of that I can be the best human I can be nice, be kind, be helpful. And so I do a lot of reflecting, and me watching the sun go down and just reflecting on the day, what all took place. There might be a slow burning fire still from all of us boys out there working for a warming fire, and just being just crazy thankful and grateful to have this opportunity to not only work with my boys and have this business, but just this life, as a whole. Very, very grateful for that. And then the sun rises is like that fresh start, new day. And don't take days for granted. Be as productive and as meaningful as you can. My best advice for somebody that wants to start in wood milling is just start. As simple as that sounds, that is the best advice I can give you. Oftentimes people will get paralysis by analysis, and they'll try to come up with this perfect plan or this perfect play. By just starting, you'll figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, might not want to do. When I first got my sawmill, I thought I was going to be milling lumber, and that's kind of all I gave it credit for. But until I sold my first mantel, that's what opened my eyes to a whole nother realm of possibilities and finish work, and actually what I enjoyed more from the wood milling that I do. And so, it's not just milling lumber, it's not just milling, beams. There's so many different aspects of it, but until you start, fumble along the way and figure out your likes and dislikes, you'll just never know. And so the way I look at it is, if I'm not failing, I'm not learning. And so the only way you learn is when you fail. And so just by getting better at your craft and figuring out what you really like to do, what gives you the most fulfillment at the end of the day on what you did on the mill, I think is your best way to find your purpose.